Hey guys, welcome back to an all new episode of a pro wrestling podcast with Matt and friends. Again, I'm your host, Matt Kozakowski, and alongside me today is the first ever Rhodes Wrestling Academy women's champion, one of the absolute greatest women's wrestlers going today and probably of all time, the one and only Shawna Reed. Shawna, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh man, it's been a hell of a weekend for pro wrestling, so I'm fantastic. I don't know if you watched Survivor Series last night,
I
but we
watch
got
clips. I watch clips. So
yes, absolutely. I get it. I get it. But we got CM Punk back. And that's
see, Randy
oh
Orton
man.
has my heart, so that's what I was waiting for.
Oh, me too. In our truth. So we got three returns
Yes.
last night and it was fantastic. Orton looked incredible.
Oh my
You
gosh.
know,
Yeah.
holy shit, right?
Right.
Best he's ever looked.
Yes.
I had one of my friends message me, he's like, steroids probably. And I'm like, no, he's been off for a year and a half. So we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it was fantastic. I thought it was a great weekend. Everybody kind of had everything thought about CM Punk returning. Awesome, awesome, awesome. But we're here. We're finally here. We've tried to do this a couple times. We didn't get it done, but we're here finally, and I'm excited to have you.
Yes.
This brings my full Armada faction on my show full circle. So I'm
Gotta save the
excited
best
for
for
this.
last. I mean, come
Eh,
on.
Right. We started with Chad, which
Oh
Chad
yeah. So
obviously
first is the
hated.
worst. We got there.
Right. Right. And he hated it here the entire time. So
Chad.
obviously Chad. But yeah, I'm excited. We saved the best for last. So let's get started. So what got you into pro wrestling?
So I always say it was a geeky childhood dream, but like what really started the thing was I didn't even know honestly pro wrestling was a thing. Like on TV, I didn't know. Um, but me and my brother, we would always fight over who would get the PS2, the gaming system. Like who would get it. So my mom had to like designate times that we would we would actually get to play, and then if the other one
Yes.
wanted to play, then we had to play what that other one wanted to play. So my brother would always choose WWE. Once again, I did not know what the heck this was. I didn't know these people were real, but in between, like obviously the in between the matches, you know how like the superstars would pop up as your game's loading and stuff. So my brother started to quiz me on who was who. And then like I realized, oh my gosh, this is actually real. This is a thing. I would start watching it at home. My mom didn't really approve because I'm a girl and all that. Like she would, but she eventually she bought into it. She let me, well, she would buy me like t-shirts and like their DVDs and stuff, but I would
Yeah.
beg to go to live events.
Oh
And that
yeah,
was a
for
no-go.
sure.
That was a no-go. And then obviously I got out of it a little bit, like the interest, like most kids do, you know. But then one
Yeah.
day when I moved out of my parents' house for literally, I was just like, huh, I wonder what they're doing on WWE now. And looked it up, fell in love with the business, reached out to my first trainer, and the rest was history.
Oh, absolutely. So I have to ask you, the game that you played, was it Shut Your Mouth? Because I remember the backstage areas. So I have to ask, was that it?
I think it was Raw vs. SmackDown 2007.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think it was a Raw vs. SmackDown. I know it was that, but there's like
But
millions of them. So
those games are so nostalgic and people still talk about them till today and they want them remastered. I would love it. Those were fantastic for me too, and then they edged into 2K games and it's just, it's not the same for sure. Um, but yeah, no, so that's definitely awesome. A video game got you into it. So do you remember like some of your favorites growing up that really like resonated with you watching it?
yeah, yeah. So the first one ever is very controversial, and I bet you know who it is. Um,
Mm, is it Punk? No. Oh
Chris Benoit.
man, Chris Benoit. Okay. Yep.
So
I
he was the first name of a wrestler I ever memorized or knew.
yeah.
But obviously it was him, it was Undertaker, it was Kane, it was Shawn Michaels. Those were my guys.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then obviously women's wise, it was Victoria, Mickey James, and Candice Michelle. Those were the three women that I figured out who they were first too.
Oh
So
yeah.
those were
And how great was Victoria though? Because nobody we like you people talk about Victoria and how great she is, but she doesn't fully get that recognition she truly deserves.
so I wrestled her a few years ago. And when I tell you it was like a dream come true, like I'm like sitting there taking the freaking tarantula on the ropes, and it's one of the most painful moves to take, but I'm sitting here fangirling because it's Victoria giving it to me. And
Oh,
then
absolutely.
yeah, and then afterwards we go in the back, and she's like, "Come drink wine with me," and like we became like really good friends. Like we like for like hours just sat there, and I didn't like wine at the time. She's the one that turned me into a wino, so let's just cause that right there. Um, but like we just talked for a while, and the rest is history. Like it was really really cool.
Man, she's great, man, and I'm hoping that in the near future she gets that Hall of Fame ring. She
Yeah,
deserves it. She's so
100%.
good, man, and she's still going, which is
Yeah.
awesome because she still does, matches here and there. But man, not a lot of people like call her as one of their absolute favorites. Me personally, I absolutely loved her. So I'm glad that you have the same common interest there about Victoria because she's, oh man, so amazing. So what led you to decide to be a pro wrestler?
Well, that was when I turned back on WWE when I was just like randomly like I'm just curious what they're doing. And honestly, the first person that was on the screen the second I turned it on was Moxley. Well, Dean Ambrose.
Julie Ambrose.
And
Yep.
I am from Cincinnati. I lived in Cincinnati. So I was like, okay, and I love like the crazier character kind of thing. So I was really getting behind him. And then AJ Lee came out. And I'm not obviously because the past with women's wrestling, it was bra and panties match. It wasn't freaking women's wrestling. So I was like not into that at all. But she came
Sure.
out, and it was just her character, the fact that she could actually wrestle, the fact that she didn't have anybody tied to her. Like, she didn't get there because she was like a family member of somebody. She didn't get
Right.
there because she was, doing something with somebody. She got there because she was
Right.
freaking good. And
Oh,
like
absolutely.
and that was mind blowing to me. But how I finally like I was like, okay, these two got me back into it. And obviously I'm from Cincinnati, so I looked up who trained Mox, and I contacted his trainer, and I started training with him like 2 weeks later.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. So when you got into training, because you obviously went to the RWA afterwards, so I'm curious about that. When you got into the training, what was one of the very first things that were like the hardest for you to overcome?
Uh one of them was being the only girl. Two was how hard that ring is. People think, oh, no. Um, three was I was very backwards, very shy. I still kind of am. And obviously I wasn't as in depth of a fan as a lot of these people were. I was like a fan. Like God, I loved wrestling, but I didn't go as far as to learn every single move, like the name of
Oh
it.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
obviously, like they're saying, okay, we're gonna teach you like this is hip toss, arm drag, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is what? Like, and like we would do a drill like where somebody was in the middle and you had to call a move out to them and they were gonna give it to you. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know the names of these moves.
Right.
And it was terrifying for me. And obviously, like I said, I was like the only girl.
Well, for
And
sure.
I got injured pretty quickly. That kept me out
Oh
for about
no.
yeah, that kept me out for about 6 months.
What kind of
But
injury was it?
uh, shoulder injury, labrum. But I still went every single day. Like I drove 2 hours, not 2 hours, about an hour and a half every single day after I got off work and took a notebook. And I just watched their training for 2 hours and just wrote notes. And finally, when I was cleared, I got back in the ring, and it was like I had been training for a year. Like
Oh, for sure.
all of a sudden it came to me like my brain switched to wrestler brain. Like it's very
Oh, for
hard to
sure.
switch that. So
And
yeah,
that's how it is. I mean, you watch it and you observe it, and that's how the wrestling names, the terminology, everything comes into play. Is you're watching it and you're there live experiencing it. So I
mhm.
mean, that's really neat to see that. So after you got done training, where you originally trained at, what led you to the RWA to start training over there?
Well, I was still training where I originally first started training. I would go there and I was like actually the co-trainer and all that. And then I was teaching their kids class because we started doing like classes with kids and I was like really doing all that. And I was doing that for about 7 straight years. And I had come in my career, I felt like I had come to a standstill. Obviously, when you're training with somebody for so long, they can only teach you so much.
Right.
And I felt like I come to a standstill, like I wasn't improving, but I also wasn't declining. I was staying right there, like it just was
Right.
right. And I saw Dustin's video and I was like, I thought it was in Florida. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I thought it was in Florida because I was like, okay, Ohio to Florida, not that big of a leap.
Right.
Okay. Um, and then I got one day literally coming home from training. Um, his wife Terrell called me and said Dustin's on the phone, and I was like, like all of a sudden Dustin Rhodes is talking to you, and I'm like, what? And he was very at the very beginning, very almost against me coming. Um,
Oh,
he
wow. Okay.
he did not want people already trained. And he's like, why are you even lying? And I told him
Yeah.
why. And he's like, well, I don't want you to think this is like an opening to AEW. I'm like, that's not what I think at all.
Right.
Obviously, like I'm just like, I want to relearn the basics. I want to be more assertive. I want to do all this stuff. Like I'm just in very in my groove now. Just like I need to
Right.
redo this. And he hung up. I'm like, okay, whatever. Oh, great. My dogs are gonna start fighting. Um, very in my groove. And so then I was on vacation in Florida and he literally called me again while I was on vacation sitting on the balcony. And he was like, I just don't know about taking you. And I'm like, I feel like I'm pitching this to Dustin, like cutting a promo. Hey, you should pick me because, but I finally did say, Dustin, look, um, I've obviously been doing this for a while. I don't want to take somebody else's spot. Like they're the beginning of their career. This is their dream. I don't want to take that from them. And like I said, I'm coming to you because this is what I want. This is what I want to do with my life. Not because, but I don't want to take somebody else's opportunity. And then it was like I said the magic words or something. And he goes, you know what? No, I want you. And
Awesome.
I was like, cool. So you're in Florida. He goes, no, Texas. I'm like, and I'm like, but I was like, I had just like literally 3 phone calls in. I've pitched myself, sold myself to this guy. I have to go no matter what now. Like,
It's
but yeah.
awesome. No, that's awesome. And like it's so cool because, I've told everybody that's come from the RWA that's been on my show that the showcases are absolutely incredible. Like
You're
I
welcome.
absolutely love right, right.
He
I
wasn't
love
going
them
to do
so.
show. He didn't want to do showcases. He did not want to do titles. We literally begged him to do them, and he decided 2 days before the first showcase that he was going to do a showcase.
Oh yeah.
But
No, it was
he didn't
great
want to do
though.
any of
It was great though, because I think wasn't it the first showcase you had your match against Chad?
Yeah, so he put me against oh my god, I love her to death and I'm blanking on her name. Oh my god, this is
It was
terrible.
a while ago, and I can't think of the name either,
And
but I
she's
do
one of the
remember.
best people in the world. She genuinely is such a good promo. She's such a good person. And I hate
Yes.
when this happens. But I had a match against her. I know her real name's Monique. Um, but like, and then but then yeah, he put me against Chad in the main too. He's like, are you cool with having 2 matches? Sure.
Oh yeah. See, no, no, and that's cool too, because I didn't know who Chad was either when he came on the show, and
You're
he's like
welcome.
telling me, he's like, yeah, he's like, hey, I've had years of experience before, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I've never seen you. Same thing with Lucas Chase, and incredible. I mean, I love the showcases, and the cool thing about it is, with those showcases, when they show your names, they give your social media accounts and stuff too. So it gives us the idea to follow you guys and follow your careers. Awesome. The fact that they do titles, I love the RWA better than the Nightmare Factory. Don't tell anybody. But absolutely incredible. And I love what you guys do. And, you were the first RWA women's champion, so that had to feel great.
Mhm.
The whole presence that you came off in the first showcase, when you first came out there, I was like, this girl's badass. And I just love the whole gimmick of, the daughter of 1,000 maniacs. It was just so cool, right? Just your presence just felt so like gravitational. Like I just was like, I want to watch her career. Like plain and simple. And I became a huge fan of yours right then and there. Like I was like, I can't wait to watch you grow as a performer, and just seeing how well you've come into your own after that, like doing the showcases. Um, you've been with the OVW as well. OVW's had so many huge names come through their doors, in the past, John Cena, Batista, Orton. Now they got Shawna Reed there, and that's absolutely incredible. So what's it been like working for OVW?
Well, OVW, hold on a second. Sorry, I had to throw a thing at my dog. But so OVW has been very much a road, if that's the best way to describe it, because I've worked for them prior to the run they just gave me. I worked for them for 5 years, and it
Really?
was
Okay.
pretty much just I was brought in as enhancement. Like it got to the point where fans knew if they saw me,
Yeah.
I was losing. And so I finally told them like, hey, I can't do this anymore. Like if you have something, because I've had the most I had the most experience in the locker room there. I'm like, I'm not gonna keep doing this. So I'm not gonna so I left and I said, if you have something for me, call me. And they
Yeah.
did. They called me within a month and they gave me that run. And it was so much fun because I love working with Haley J. Me and her are like
She's
she's
so good.
great. I love her. She's got a bright future. Like I said, I love her to death. And but I haven't been there since my last trip to the UK. Uh,
Yeah.
so and but they're doing good things. So I'm happy for them.
No, absolutely. And it's so cool to see, like I said, everything that you've been doing, because you have been going to the UK with your tag team partner Paul Hubers. We absolutely love Paul. Paul's absolutely great. Another part of the Armada, the greatest faction in pro wrestling today. And you guys are absolutely killing it over there. You guys are winning titles. You guys are absolutely just nailing it out of the park over there. What's it like working with Paul as a tag team partner and doing singles?
I mean, do you want the short list? I'm just kidding.
Let's go with it. I mean,
No,
no.
it's freaking awesome, like I I mean, with how our relationship started and where it's at now, like in the like when I first met Paul at the I think it was the second art or the third camp where they introduced the
Yeah,
titles. He won the men's, I won the women's. We didn't say
yeah.
two words to each other. Like there was no communication at all. And
Oh, really?
me in my head thinking, man, this guy's a freaking prick. He won't even come and like, introduce himself or anything. And then Chad made the Armada and Paul was in it. And I had, posted about I want to go back to the UK. I had some dates and he messaged me. And then no joke, the rest was history. We
Yeah.
were pretty much inseparable ever since. But like working in the ring with him, like it's almost like wrestling myself, which is really cool. We've only had that one singles match. That was the first time we ever locked up. And his brain is just like how he sees things is incredible. Like you're like, oh,
Oh,
okay, cool, yeah, this could be a cool way to do. He knows what he's talking about, and it's really
oh,
like,
for sure.
and it's really cool to watch like him teach other people. People that would not have thought. Like I've known guys that they're like, I've been in the business this long, I'm not going to listen to you.
Right.
And then
Right.
finally they do listen to him and they're like, oh my God, that was amazing. And then they go up and ask for advice on all their matches with him. Um,
Oh, yeah.
and it's obviously just cool for me as his tag partner and his girlfriend to be it's really cool to be on even on ringside just watching, like even when we're in a match and you're just watching him in the ring. It's just really cool. It's like, man, that's my partner in there, and like
Oh, for
he's
sure.
like
Yeah.
killing it, and we're doing this together. So
Yes.
that's even more fun. It's like, okay, we're both doing this together. So
Oh, and
yeah.
he's very skilled and articulate. Like he knows how to pinpoint maneuvers very easily. And I've watched him, and he's just he's one of the, in my opinion, one of the best, safest workers that
Oh,
you can
don't tell
actually
him that.
see in professional wrestling. So I mean, I love watching him, and like
He's
it,
stubborn as a mule.
I don't get that vibe from him. I mean, but I've only talked to him a few times, so I don't know. I don't know him personally. So if you say so, I agree, you know?
Yes.
Paul, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I have to agree with Shawna. Women are
Yep.
always right, right? So
Yes.
but yeah, so I mean, what was the difference that you learned um from when you originally trained in pro wrestling from the RWA? What was something that you learned that you didn't learn before that has stuck with you since?
Um, well, when I was there, it was pretty much obviously it was before he had Dustin did all these classes that now I've seen him train these other classes and he's teaching them like moves that are like not beginner moves.
Yeah,
And during my whole class, he was all about the basics, which I was so happy about. Um, so he very much helped me with my confidence and very much helped me with like, like being able to like pretty much just know I know what I'm doing. It just hasn't been my time yet. I have not been in the right place at the right time yet.
right,
In front of like the right, like it just has not been my time. And who knows if that time will ever come. But he pretty much helped me become like a trainer there. Like I was offered a position to train there. I mean to be a trainer, and I didn't take it because I had other stuff I had to commit to back home.
right.
So, um, if my time never comes, like I've been a trainer at 2 wrestling schools now, so maybe that's my future.
I think your time will come. And I was thinking about this earlier, and I really, really would picture the Armada, even if it's just a couple of you guys in MLW, running roughshod of Major League Wrestling. I think you guys would fit the mold and just absolutely take over the whole MLW roster. And I would love to see that because there's so many cool people there as well. And I think you guys would fit very well over there because it is, building, and it's not like, major like WWE, but it would focus spotlight on you guys. And I think you guys deserve it because collectively, you guys are fantastic. Single, you guys are fantastic. So I think you guys all deserve that golden opportunity. And it's so cool to see you guys doing it. Like like I said, I've watched you do your thing all over the UK, the States, Paul's killing it in the UK. Lucas Chase is absolutely killing it on the indies right now. So I would love to see you guys get that shot. And I think MLW would be the perfect spot for you guys.
Yeah.
Um, I've been watching wrestling nonstop for 20 years, and I always can see certain people in certain spots. And that's where I feel like you guys would be perfect at. Now, when you learned all that stuff for training and stuff too, the confidence shows when you walk to the ring and everything. You don't, and you mentioned this earlier that, you come off as shy sometimes too, but you can't tell that when you're going out there. And that's so cool. So when you go out there, how do you get your mindset to feel like, okay, I got to turn the shyness off and I got to go out there and do my thing?
Well, I'm a very shy, anxious person. And like that's what like in the back, like in some locker rooms, I've gotten the reputation just for the pure fact that I just don't talk. And I
Yeah.
just like, like I'm just like just kind of there. I get the reputation that oh, she's, she's a bitch because she doesn't like she's got like she stuck up. She must think she's too good. It's like, no, I just don't talk. Um, I've just been, um, messed around too much in this business, and it's just like it's like
Yeah.
now I'm a very hard person to gain trust with. Um, but like obviously before every single match, it's pretty much like you have to shut that off. Like you're about to go out there and put on a show, and if you suck, you're gonna the wrestling fans are no joke. They will boo you out of this building. They will destroy you. They will rip you to shreds. You
Oh,
have no
100%.
choice. So you have to go out there and turn on this, like not who you are in the back, and turn on this other character. Because if you don't, you're literally going out to slaughter. And you also have somebody else's life out there in the ring with you that you're worrying about, like it's not just you. It is like if I don't get in this right mindset, I could mess up a move and I could
Right.
literally end this person's career and their life. Like there's just all this to think about. And
Oh, for sure.
you have to become this person. And because literally they will, if you go out there, they will, it's pretty much like almost if you mess up, you're putting the hangman's noose around yourself for you, like
For sure. And
this.
these fans are just so toxic. It's crazy because, the world of pro wrestling, like you want the fans, but then you see it and you're like, do I want the fans? Because,
Yeah.
we're all on social media, right? Everybody's on social media. They see it all the time. And these fans can get so toxic. And it's like, yo, can't we just enjoy it? Like, can't we just
Mhm.
enjoy wrestling as a whole? And it's crazy to see that because like people have gone down, like I've seen somebody mention on social media, oh, well, can God take CM Punk instead and bring Bray Wyatt back? And I'm like, yo, that's kind of harsh. Like,
Yeah.
it sucks that Bray's gone, and rest in peace, but people are so brutal and it's so crazy. And you just gotta, like you said, you gotta turn it on and do your thing and go out there and please every fan because they're so brutal. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. They
Um,
forget we're people too.
Oh
Like,
yeah, 100%. And it's crazy to, like I said, just to see that because the fans are just, it's rough. It's rough. And social media just has changed so much because I remember growing up watching wrestling and like you didn't have that. You didn't have Twitter or X or whatever you call it. And people weren't like gunning at your neck. Like you got to enjoy it. Now it's
mhm.
like you don't know what to say because people are like, hey, let me go at you. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, so I have to ask you, what gave you the idea of the Daughter of a Thousand Maniacs gimmick?
Well, I've had a few gimmicks prior, and then um, I became the daughter of a thousand maniacs because I'm a huge like horror movie fan, and more specifically Freddy Krueger, and he's the son of 100 maniacs. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna be the daughter of 1,000 maniacs. I'm like, I'm gonna just one up Freddy Krueger because that's just what I'm gonna do.
I love it. That's awesome. So was that like your favorite villain growing up was Freddy
Yes,
Krueger?
I love and
Absolutely.
still love Freddy Krueger.
So which was your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street?
I'm still always a sucker for the first one.
The original?
Yep.
Did you like the remake?
Parts.
Parts. Yeah, remakes just don't feel the same, man, and
No.
it's crazy. But I hope they do justice when, if they do make ever again make any more because those movies are classics, obviously. Now I have to ask you, are you a fan of the Terrifier movies that have been more recent?
Mm, no.
No. Are you not a
No.
clown person?
No.
I just watched that yesterday, so that's why I had to ask because I just watched it again yesterday and I was like, this movie's fantastic. So now that you mentioned you're a big horror movie fan, I had to ask you. So I know we talked based off of the gimmicks, we talked based off of OVW, RWA. Um, you've run with a couple factions and you've been with two factions at once with the Fallen and the Armada. So what's it like working with multiple factions at once? Do you ever get crossed over? How does that work?
So with obviously the Armada, we have never all been together at the same time. It's just never happened. So
Yeah.
a lot of people obviously don't like associate that.
Right.
Um, the Fallen, a lot of people don't even realize that it's me. Like because they say I look so different. Like I've literally read comments under a video on YouTube of a match I'm on. Like, man, that's the girl from the Fallen. She's actually hot. And I'm like, well, geez, like thanks, guys. But obviously one faction I have to be like, pretty much the smartass bitchy princess.
Yes.
And the other one, I have to be the demon that's gonna literally go for the jugular and rip your throat out. So they're
Right.
two complete different things.
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. And the way you carry yourself is so different too. Like that's why people I think are always like looking at it like, oh, is that really the same person? Because you do it so well. And I think, that goes with all the training, that goes with everything. Like the way you just carry yourself to that ring in all manners is just like mind blowing. And that's why, like, like I said, the first showcase when I first seen you come out, I was like, I've got to watch her career because it's going to skyrocket. And I'm still believing that big things are going to happen for you because you are one of the best going today. Um, Now, I do have to ask you, I've always seen people do this move. Well, not always because it's very rare that it happens, but the electric chair face buster that you do. how hard is it to get them over your head and land it smoothly the way you do?
Very, especially for someone who has had a broken neck. Um, and every time I do it, I am reminded, my neck likes to remind me, hey, you need to like you need to stop. So I will only give it to people now that, if it's a bigger show, or two, if it's someone I know I can get above my head easily.
Well,
Um
you do it so smooth too. It's so clean. And like, I think the only time I've ever seen that was when Edge used to do it. Because
yeah.
I know Edge did it a couple of times. And when he used to do it, it was so smooth. And then I've seen people do it here and there, and I see him get like stuck over the shoulder or the head, and I'm like, yeah, that looked dangerous. But you do it so flawless, and it's beautiful.
Thank you.
So was that one of the harder moves that it took you to learn to do?
No, it was actually one of the easier moves that I learned. But like, obviously I had to gain strength for it, like, because I had tried it in the past with a guy, and I couldn't even stand with somebody on my shoulders. I was so just like weak.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, I've done it to like 200-pound men. So it's like, okay, I'm good now.
Oh yeah, because they obviously lift themselves up too, so it helps, with the over the head.
Yeah.
So what was one of the harder moves in your move set? What was one of the hardest moves that you learned to do that it took you a while to get comfortable with?
Huh. Let's see.
Because your tilt-a-whirl head scissors is fucking incredible as well. I'm
That
just gonna say it.
was just blown out of the water one day. I was like, hey, well, one guy's like, just try it in a match. And I'm like, okay. And that's how that
So
worked.
hard to find a good head scissors too, because it's not done very well anymore. Like they let go too quickly, and you do the whole turnaround, and it's like smooth, like perfect.
Well, one of the moves I think is I think because it so easily could go wrong. That's why I'm still like very iffy. I still do it sometimes, but I only do it like if I'm sure.
Yeah.
Is the sunset flip power bomb off the second rope. So
Okay.
obviously, I'll have the person go up for a moonsault. I'll hit them to keep them there for a second, and then I'll jump on the second rope next to them, and then completely do like a 180 and flip, and then take them down and do the power bomb. I did that to Abaddon when she was gold dust. Um,
Yes.
but like, it's only because it depends on the ropes in the ring, because I could slide right through them the second I jump, because I like it to be fluid. I like it to be boing, boing, go.
Yep.
But I've just slid so many times through a rope. I'm now boing. Okay, I'm good. Go. Like, and then you're also depending on that person that is holding on to the turnbuckle that you're giving it to be a good base, because it's literally you're all in air and you're just grabbing
Yeah,
them. So it's literally they have your life, and they have my life in their hand for like a good like 5 seconds. They could literally
for
fall,
sure.
and we both fall on our necks.
Because if they don't hold on or they don't, let go at the right time, something can obviously badly happen.
Yeah.
And we don't want that to happen. We want to see you have a long career, which I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any list of dream opponents that you would love to wrestle in the near future here?
Um, I mean, there's a newer girl. She's from the Indianapolis area. She's newer and like uh, but the way like her presence is and her character, like she plays like this like snarky, like blonde, like bitch, like, and like the popular preppy like
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the way
yeah.
I've actually watched her promos. I haven't really watched her work. I watched some of her work, but her promos get me. But her name's Larkin Danielle, and I would actually really like to share a ring with her one day. She's been in the
I've
business
seen
maybe
her.
less than a year, but like I would very much enjoy working with her. Um,
I think she's on to big things as well. And I've seen clips and stuff, and she's going to do some big things too.
yeah, I like her. I mean, I've
Yeah.
never met her. We've never shared a locker room, but I hope that changes at some point.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that'd be a perfect match, especially with the princess versus the mean girl. We gotta
Yes,
we gotta tangle that up a little bit.
it'd be fun.
So oh, absolutely. So if you could ask three wrestlers, dead or alive, for advice in pro wrestling, who would they be?
Oh gosh. Huh. I've got two. I think I got two controversial ones. Uh, I would ask Chris Benoit before all the CTE.
Yes. Okay.
I'd ask China. Um, and then probably just as a woman, probably AJ Lee because I'm just a big AJ Lee mark. Or
Who
yeah, I'm a big.
isn't? Who
So yeah,
isn't?
right.
We've all wanted her back for the longest time, and there's been teases, but we haven't fully gotten it. And AJ was just that girl next door. She was just so cool. She was just like the presence she felt, and like just skipping to the ring and doing all the she like it was just so cool to watch. And she was everybody's dream girl wrapped into one because she was cute, but she was nerdy, but she was fun, but she was awesome in the ring. Like just
Yeah.
everything about her was just so cool.
Yes.
And I'm hoping one day, maybe, fingers crossed, we get her back just for
Yeah.
one more match. Um, so what can we expect next from Shawna Reed?
Honestly, I don't even know. I'm hopefully next year continuing to go to the UK a lot more. That's my goal there. Um, but I don't know, just hopefully get in front of the right people at some point. Just like do that and just,
Absolutely.
getting better. So we'll see.
Absolutely. Are we going to expect you in the RWA show when it comes out?
Who knows? I mean, if Dustin contacts me,
Hey, well, they come back with new titles. They're repackaging their titles. Would love to see Shawna Reed as RWA Women's Champion one more time.
I mean,
The longest
I'm
reigning
still the longest
RWA.
reigning and I'm still
Yes.
the best women's champion they've had. So
Oh, absolutely. And one more title reign, we'd love to see it.
why not?
But Shauna, do you want to tell the fans where they could find you at on social media?
Yeah, so Facebook, just my name, Shawna Reed. Um, let's see, Instagram is Shawna_Reed, Twitter is Shawna Reed 93. Why not? Let's add out there TikTok. It's Shawna Reed Wrestler. So yeah, good times.
Absolutely. Guys, if you want to follow somebody who's absolutely going to have a bright future and is just getting started, even though she's had a couple years and behind her now, she's
Hey, I'm
just
almost
getting
in double
started.
digit years, almost double
Hey,
digit.
you're killing it though. You're still doing big things, and I can't wait to see it. But everybody, please be on the lookout for Shauna Reed. Big things are coming for her. Shauna, happy belated birthday, by the way.
Oh,
I wanted to
thank
say
you.
that. Absolutely. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. You seemed like you had fun. So, but thank you for coming on the show. It's been a great time. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
Same, thanks.
Absolutely. Guys, until next time, I was once again your host, Matt Kozakowski. This is Shauna Reed. Peace out, guys.